guys, it's me again, and I thought this time, instead of doing a brand new video about brand new stuff, I would actually reintroduce an old video. As the title says, it is a video about asexuality, specifically how I came to terms with being asexual and what that meant for me and what I understand it to mean generally. The reason why I'm doing this is because my last video on asexuality was a poem I wrote, and since I posted it over the last couple of years, I think, it has astounded me the amount of people and coverage it has got since I posted it. That yeah, so it's been shared onto like the Avon website. I've had people message me online about it, being like, oh, thank you so much, this has, like, you know, really helped me come out to like family members, which is just so cool. I wrote this originally because it was something that was a matter that was close to my heart at the time and kind of still is, and I wanted to write a poem about this and kind of just spread awareness about it and just tell people what it is, because I feel that it's not spoken about enough and it's misunderstood as a concept and as a sexuality, and this is something that needed to be pushed forward more. So I thought, what better way to do it in a poem, that it would have done something like that, but come out to family members, come out to friends, made them more confident as a person. And I just feel that it's something that I feel that I need to finally address and discuss for myself. It's still kind of an ongoing process. Asexuality is a very fluid thing. There are varying spectrums and you can't necessarily place yourself anywhere specifically on it and go, I'm exactly here. But I'm a lot more comfortable and confident with it than I was, say, like 2 years ago. It was a thing, I kind of came to terms with it 3 years ago now, I think. So I'd just, the first time I kind of came across the term and I'd come to terms with it in that sort of aspect of I found out what it was, because I didn't know that was a thing that existed until I think I talked to some people about it and stuff, and they're like, do you think you're this? And I was like, I don't know, is that a sexuality? I didn't know that, because immediately you think, oh, it's like a plant, and then obviously when you find out what it is, you feel like, oh shit, that's like really degrading to people. Honestly, I just thought I was like a really shit heterosexual person. So I was around 18, I had, give or take a few months, got out of, I wouldn't exactly call it a relationship, an experience, let's say. Even then I feel like there were sort of, not necessarily warning signs, but little flags that were popping up that something wasn't going the way that I thought it was supposed to be going. And it wasn't just that whether you liked them or not, it was a lot more complex than that. For example, I was on the phone to two good friends of mine from home being like, what do you do? What happens when this happens? And it's not even just about generally like the physical sexual things that you might think of. It was more like, this is boring, or I don't understand what's going on, or I'd rather be doing something completely different. Just things like that. And I was on the phone to them and asking them about like coping techniques or coping mechanisms as to how I could combat what I was going through, when I actually didn't realise that what I was experiencing was a genuine lack of sexual attraction, which I was convincing myself that there was something wrong with me and something that I had to fix and have a coping thing to deal with. And looking back on it now, like I was examining a particularly aesthetically pleasing painting without feeling any kind of sexual attraction or desire. I was sort of just like, oh cool, so you have a face, this is nice. And then when it's finally stopped, I ended up, you know, being like, oh god, I'm like, oh, I'm broken, I don't understand. And I just feel that that was something that if asexuality had been talked about more and it had been spread around more, I would have instantly clicked and gone, oh wait, this makes total sense, like this is a thing. I was like acting and going through the motions of what I thought a normal, like heterosexual young woman would be doing, and I was like, oh, they should be doing this because I read about it. And you know, when you start thinking that, it's not logical, it's not like you can read instructions out of a book and suddenly voila. Asexuality is a spectrum, wherever you identify on the spectrum, you are valid. I cannot say this enough. You are valid in, and it's only you that can identify with your own sexuality. All these stereotypes just make me so frustrated. Oh, you're clearly this, or you're clearly like frigid or cold, or you know, you have no heart or whatever. Honestly, it's still an ongoing process. It's still okay to have days where you get slightly confused, you don't feel 100%. It's entirely valid and right that you can do things like this, and there's no one correct or right answer. If you're wondering if you are asexual, if you're coming to terms with the fact that you might be, or that you might not be, or that you might only be like grey ace, or you might actually be bisexual, or even there's quite a lot of stories about it where people have identified as ace and then gone, actually no, wait, I'm actually gay, I'm not ace, this makes more sense. But at the end of the day, it's your identity is your own, it's entirely valid whichever way you paint it. So the second part of this, I suppose, is did I tell anyone? Who did I tell? How did I explain it? And I was quite lucky in the fact that I have a lot of supportive friends who, whilst some may not immediately understand where I was coming from, and I got a lot of, oh, you just need a good snog, or like, oh, you haven't met the right person, you know, general things that you'd assume you'd hear. A lot of my friends were very much like, oh, okay, that's totally cool. But it wasn't all plain sailing. There were rough patches, and it's still a thing that I'm not comfortable talking about with everybody that I know, because I know some people will immediately dismiss it out of hand and be like, what is that? Why are you telling me this? It's not a thing. And it's coming to the time where, having left university, seeing a lot of people getting into relationships or getting, you know, even married, a lot of questions will come back to me and be like, oh, so what about you? And it's very hard to turn around and say, I'm not interested. Ever. I feel that at the moment I'm sort of very much skating by on I'm just not interested, just give me a cat, I'll be cool. Asexuality is a genuine, real thing that is not talked about enough, and I feel that having something like this and alongside with my poem and other people's YouTube videos on asexuality, like Amelia Ace, she is one I am in awe of her. She is a fabulous YouTuber, and I will put some links to her stuff down below. But I thought I'd just do a mini kind of story about coming out asexuality to you guys, to answer your questions, to come back to this after 2 years of doing that poem, which I had so much brilliant and lovely feedback about. So the link for the old video will be in the comments box. If you have any questions or you want to discuss something, please don't hesitate to comment, message me, yeah. And I'll be happy to discuss and talk to you about these things more. But anyway, hopefully that you enjoyed that, and more videos will be along the way shortly. Right, bye!